Alright, everybody. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna move my mic a little closer. In the preposition. Alright, everybody. This is Burt from Soft Tubes, and this is another trailer reaction. This is Jumanji, the next level. Technically, I think this is the third Jumanji movie. Whether or not people like to count these as part of the Jumanji films is up to them, but it is. Anyway, so we're going to jump in and see what this is like. Yeah, this looks better for the trailer. Yep. Probably should have seen if that was there first. Okay. So this looks kids.
It's complicated.
Many a tear has to fall.
When we first got together,
But it's all
we were different people.
in the game. All in the wonderful game.
Why would you rebuild it?
Grandpa,
Wait,
Anthony?
that's really fucking hell!
And Bethany. This is Spencer's grandfather.
Nice to meet you.
Morning. Sorry to barge in on you.
You're not barging, he's barging.
Milo Walker.
Did you guys see Spencer?
I think he went back in. We gotta go get him.
Are you out of your mind? We haven't even picked our guys yet.
Oh, I hate this part. All right.
You hear something?
Huh?
Okay.
Spencer.
Huh?
What?
Who are you?
Oh my God. You're Spencer's grandfather.
Are we in Florida?
And you?
Milo Walker. I
Oh.
die and turn into some kind of a small, muscular Boy Scout.
Are we dead?
Bethany?
No!
Rich?
I'm the old fat dude. This can't be happening! My hip sure feels good now.
Look at my thighs.
Look at your thighs.
Look at my thighs.
Okay, we have some issues here. The game is busted.
It was a game. I'm not it. I'm an idiot. Welcome to Jumanji.
Yes! It's good.
This next venture is even more challenging. And remember, the future of Jumanji is in your hands.
I have one important question. Who is Jumanji?
Is that Barbara's boy?
We're gonna die.
We did die.
Are we in hell?
I knew it.
Oh my God.
All in the wonderful game.
This is a whole new thing.
Let me know.
You got to have eyes in the back of your head.
What in the Sam Hill?
What the hell is this?
It's your strengths and weaknesses.
Smoldering intensity? It's this stupid face you make. Huh?
What's going on? You having a heart attack? Breathe. Breathe. His whole left side is shutting down. Eddie.
All in the wonderful
You know what? I know if some people are going to be like, about this. I think it looks fun. That's the main thing. Like, I love the original Jumanji when I was a kid. It was one of my favorite films growing up. And so when they were doing, I didn't see Zathura until a long time later, and even then I only watched it because I heard that Jon Favreau directed it, and I actually kind of enjoyed Zathura. I didn't think it was amazing, but I actually thought it was pretty clever, and it was a nice way of doing a sequel to Jumanji that didn't try to retread the same things. So then when they announced Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, that was what it was called. I nearly forgot for a second there. Christmas. Comes out Christmas. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, so when they announced the other one, I was kind of like, I don't know, like, the cast aren't too bad. Like, they're people that even when I, I don't necessarily love everyone in the cast, but typically they're pretty decent when they're in something. I mean, The Rock's usually, like, The Rock is not necessarily the most diverse character, but he's good in these sort of comedy roles. I'm finding a lot of wrestlers tend to lend themselves to certain types of roles, and they all seem to have certain comedy that they're good at. Not necessarily the same comedy. I don't think John Cena could do The Rock's roles, but I think they both find the little comedy that they're good at, and when they do, they're really good at it, because Dave Bautista's the same. He has a particular kind of comedy that he's really good at. And it may not be a lot of difference between them all, but it's just a little bit there. And Karen Gillan's pretty damn good, and friggin' like Jack Black's a guy who's had a bit of a like up and down career in terms of quality of film, but he's typically pretty enjoyable when you see him. Things like that. So I was a little cautious, and so I went and saw it, and I saw it with a friend of mine, and we missed like first little bit of the movie. We were a little bit late. I don't know how much. I think we missed when it's like the first time that's shown. Basically, we got there like right after. Like I think we got right at the end of what was the like the first kid going into the game. Is I think we got caught in. We got in at that point, so we just saw it basically from the kids there on. So it actually made the movie kind of more interesting in a way, because there was bits where it was like hinting at stuff before that we didn't know about. And then we had to be like, oh, okay, that guy's this. And so it was pretty interesting to kind of go through like that. And I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun movie, like some dumb moments, but pretty damn fun. This has given me the same vibe. The only issue I'm having with this immediately, like, I was wondering how they were going to do this different. I think it's very clever to do the broken, glitchy game, because I think that has a lot of potential there for interesting stuff. Having stuff like The Rock being Danny DeVito's character portrayed and things like that, like having them not all be the same again, I think is actually really clever. And all that sort of stuff, so I'm actually pretty keen for that. But my one issue is they're sort of playing on a few of the same jokes. So, Jack Black's character, I always think Shelley something, Dr. Shelley something, getting attacked and basically eaten by an animal, happens in both. Hippo in the first one, Anaconda in this one. This joke about the rock smolder happened in the first one. Wind just on my door. Made me think someone was there for a moment. Happens in this one as well. So yeah, it's basically kind of doing a bit of the same stuff, which I'm not overly fond of when a film does that all the time. If they can get clever about it, then excellent. I feel like, to me, this is very similar to the Quicksilver stuff in the newer X-Men films. They did the Quicksilver thing once, and people loved it, and I thought it was really clever. And then they went, oh, people like that, so they did it again. And the only problem, I think, their main problem there was, it actually wasn't bad when they did it again. Like, it was still kind of clever, and there was some interesting stuff they did. But that was all he was there for. That was the entire purpose of that, was for that moment to make people go, yeah, I remember that, I liked that the last time I saw it. Because they cripple him every time because they don't know how to deal with Quicksilver. So they only put him back in to do that moment. And then Dark Phoenix doesn't even get to that moment, and they went, well, you don't know what to fucking do with him, and they cripple him immediately. So when you have that, where you're not being clever about it, I would be interested to see how this works here, because it is different people in bodies. There's obviously a different joke with the rock smolder here. So I think that's where they're going to hopefully find new ways, even if they do a bit of an old joke. I think they'll do that because part of the joke of the first one is the meta stuff of games repeating certain things, because they don't understand the context of you asking something a second time and stuff like that. So NPCs repeat dialogue. That will probably happen a little bit in this context, and I think that makes sense. So basically, yeah, I think if they can just find something that, even if they do the same stuff, but just bring something new to it, I think it'll work. Hopefully it's not too Deadpool 2, where a lot of the Deadpool 2 jokes were pretty much just the same joke with a little bit of a twist, but they didn't feel fresh enough anymore. And because part of what made Deadpool 1 really good was how fresh it was, having that just repeated in Deadpool 2 kind of hurt it a little bit. The stuff that was new I loved in Deadpool 2. The stuff that was repeated jokes I was very lukewarm about. So here I'm hoping I can still have that fun experience I had of the first film. I just want, like, I don't expect this movie to be anything like, not try to be some thought-provoking or anything like that. I just expect this to be a fun film. The first Jumanji is a fun film. I think it's a good film. I don't necessarily think it's the greatest film. I don't think it's as good as certain people might put it up to. I love that movie, but there are issues with it. But it's a fun adventure kind of film. It's a little bit darker, I think, than the last one of this had been and what this looks to be. But it was for a different time period. It was for different things. I'm okay accepting these as what they are. So yeah, I'm kind of keen to look forward to this. I'll probably see it around Christmas. Like, I'll probably see it when it comes out. I'll probably have a review then. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you like this video or didn't like this video, you can hit the buttons down below. And if you have any thoughts about Jumanji, about this franchise, about this franchise or anything, leave your thoughts down below. I did all of that backwards to what I normally do, but you know, we're trying new things. It has been a while, and I apologize for that. Anyone who does sort of watch my stuff and was like, oh, I wonder why there hasn't been a video. I doubt there's many of you, but there's probably maybe a couple. Basically, yeah, I had some personal stuff came up a couple weeks back, and it just kind of threw me for a loop for a bit. And so I was trying to kind of get this done, and also a lot of other personal stuff done. And just kind of threw things out. And there wasn't a lot coming out anyway, since a lot of what I'm doing here at the moment is reaction-based. I didn't have time to edit certain things I wanted to that were different, and there wasn't a lot to react to necessarily coming out that was immediately drawing me in. So it was kind of hard to get it fitted in with everything else I had to do. But now I'm trying to build it back out. I'm never going to try and promise one video every day or anything like this at this point, because things are kind of, I don't know right now. But I wanted, if I can, that'll be great. I do have some ideas for different kinds of videos to come out. We'll see how they go. And yeah, so anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
My name is Woody, and this...
That's amazing. I haven't seen Toy Story in so long.
Come in peace. You are a toy! You are a sad, strange little man.
Buzz Lightyear, the coolest toy ever.
Not a flying toy.